Okay. The one can see us walking away.
Marijuana in the United States. According to the National Institute of Drug Abuse, the first recording of cannabis for healing purposes dates back to 1500 BC. Many uses have been explored and benefited from humans for 1,000 years. In my studies, I have learned about many uses for cannabis other than recreational, how it came here, and the potential medical uses for marijuana. Marijuana refers to dried leaves, flowers, stems, and seeds from the hemp plant Cannabis sativa, which contains the mind-altering drug THC. It may also be concentrated in a resin called hashish or a sticky black liquid called hash oil. People had been smoking marijuana around the world for 1,000 years. Evidence of marijuana cultivation reaches back as far as 2737 BC in China, where it was used as treatment for rheumatism, malaria, and absent-mindedness. It was recreationally used as far back as 1000 BC in India. The Spanish brought pot to America in 1545, and English arrived with marijuana in Jamestown, PA in 1611. It became a major commercial crop. It was replaced in the South eventually by cotton. It was a principal crop in Mount Vernon and a secondary crop in Monticello. It grew primarily for the use of hemp rope, but there is some evidence that they were always very familiar with the hallucinogenic properties as well. In the mid-1600s, hemp became an integral part of the economy. In New England, south to Maryland, and Virginia, colonies produced cordage, cloth, canvas, sacks, and paper from hemp all the way to the Revolutionary War. Farmers compelled their patriotic duty to grow hemp, and Americans were even allowed to pay their taxes with hemp. By 1850s, marijuana was added to the U.S. pharmacopoeia. Medicinal preparations of cannabis became available in American pharmacies, following an introduction to its use in Western medicine a decade earlier in 1839. Marijuana is used to treat many ailments: alcoholism, tonsillitis, opiate addiction, gout, convulsive disorders, and many more. In the 1940s, the government encouraged farmers to grow hemp for the war effort because other industrial fibers that were flown overseas were in short supply. In the 1950s, it was the last time that hemp was planted widely across the United States. Hemp was an important crop from the colonial times to World War II, when it was last widely planted for war effort across the U.S. Marijuana has many benefits. Currently, Americans across the country benefit from the use of marijuana in association with many serious health conditions: pain relief, nausea, glaucoma, movement disorders, cancer, loss of appetite, and insomnia. With all these disorders, according to the National Institute of Health, THC has been an effective form of treatment. THC can be administered orally, rectally, or intravenously. It is shown to have no negative effects on airways or the respiratory system like smoking does. Marijuana took a long journey to make it to the U.S. and has treated a lot of harmful disorders, so why is it still illegal? While more and more states are making moves to decriminalize marijuana or legalize it for medicinal use, it still remains illegal no matter what, in the eyes of the federal government. Currently, 20 states have medical marijuana laws. In California in 1996, 56% voted yes on Proposition 215. To the Health and Safety Code legalizing marijuana for seriously ill patients, they passed in Proposition 200 in Arizona by even higher 65% majority. That law moved all drugs to a situation that would allow doctors to recommend them. State legislature repealed popular election vote, and voters promptly put it back to the ballot as a referendum in 1998. In 1998, it won again, and voters in Alaska, Washington, Oregon, Nevada, and Maine also legalized medical use of marijuana throughout the initiative process. 2 states have legalized recreational use: Washington and Colorado. On November 6, 2012, Colorado and Washington became the first states to legalize the sale and possession of cannabis for recreational use since the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937, when they passed Colorado Amendment 64 and Washington Initiative 502. Each regulated marijuana in a way similar to alcohol, allowing possession of up to an ounce for adults aged 21 and older. With DUID provisions similar to drunk driving, unlike Initiative 502, Amendment 64 allows personal cultivation up to 6 plants. Both provide for commercial cultivation and sales. In the city of Portland, Maine, it was legalized possession of up to 2.5 ounces of marijuana on November 5, 2013. Making it the first city on the East Coast to do so, citizens voted for the law with 67% in favor of legalization. The law does not allow sale of marijuana, and city police still intend to enforce state law in which possession is a civil offense and only medical marijuana is legal. I have a chart that shows you around the United States. You can see the dark green is legalized medical marijuana currently being sold. The lighter green is legalized medical marijuana to be sold later this year. The light green is legalized medical marijuana not yet for sale. And the clear ones, which is Ohio, could legalize in the next 5 years. Federal law still prohibits marijuana. Marijuana is classified as a Schedule I substance drug by the 1970 Controlled Substance Act, meaning it is considered to have a high potential for abuse, no currently accepted medical use, and a lack of accepted safety. Rescheduling marijuana to the less restrictive Schedule II or Schedule III remains a contentious issue. The gateway drug. We've shown that the marijuana gateway effect is not the best explanation for the link between marijuana use and the use of harder drugs. An alternative, simpler, and more compelling explanation accounts for the pattern of drug use you see in this country, without resort to any gateway effects. While the gateway theory has enjoyed popular acceptance, scientists have always had their doubts. These doubts are now justified. The people who are predisposed to use drugs and have the opportunity to use drugs are more than likely others to use both marijuana and harder drugs. Marijuana typically comes first because it is more available. The cannabis plant has many uses that have been explored and benefited from humans for thousands of years all over the world. In conclusion, it is apparent to me that the time has come for a serious convo about marijuana, its uses and benefits, and why it is still illegal in the eyes of the federal government. I have another chart that shows you from green to red, from green being very toxic, not very toxic, getting all the way to approaching poison. Heroin is down here on the bottom, approaching poison. And cannabis, which is all the way at the top, is not even very toxic. So why is marijuana still illegal?